Good morning guys, it is Monday morning. I'm starting this vlog off a little bit unexpectedly. I'm in the middle of working right now, but I have this very mysterious parcel. I have no idea what this is. It's an international parcel and I just need to know because I literally have no idea. So I thought I would just crack it open and get it. Oh no, it's not. Oh my god. Oh my god. It isn't. So this. I'm so excited. This is an Imposia blanket. If you guys remember, I was sent one of these last year to show to you guys and they're the best things ever. So this year Imposia blankets reached out to me again. However, they did not reach out to me to send me a blanket this year. They reached out to me to design one, and this is the blanket that I designed and I'm so excited. I didn't design it as in like do the art or anything. I'm not the artist on this, but Imposia asked what themes I would like to see, like what colors, things like that, and so I designed this blanket. I'm so excited because I love these so much. So this is a like star themed blanket and it has books on it as well. I'm gonna show you this like as best as I can. And there we have it. They are beautiful. Now the things that I love about these is that they are lined on the inside and they're just super cozy. You also wear them like a cape, so they go on like this and you have a hood. And you also have, I look great because my hair's scraped back. You also have this little button that ties around the neck and it's a little cape. Honestly, guys, I love these so much. So thank you to Imposia for giving me the chance to design one of these and then also for sending it to me. I absolutely love it. Imposia's website will be down in my description box if you guys like to pick anything up. They have a range of bookish designs and they're very cozy and I like them. So this is the product of today's work. We have 3 ball sacks, like I can't lift them with one hand, and 1 half sack, and that is another 37 orders out. So I promise that eventually in this vlog I will get around to telling you what I'm currently reading and what I think of it, but I'm feeling overwhelmed. I've done some maths. I've written myself a list of all of the candles I need to make this week to stay on track, and it is approximately 135 candles across 21 different types of candle. I haven't pre-filmed anything for this week. I was going to film today, but it's now 3 p.m. I've only just finished packing orders, and on top of that, I can't remember. I literally cannot remember the last time I washed my hair. Last Wednesday, maybe. So in my frazzled state, completely forgot that if I'm gonna film today, I would have needed to wash my hair last night. So no filming. Instead of that, I'm gonna go and edit the last clip for this week's vlog or last week's vlog. That needs to go up tomorrow. Edit my thumbnail, get that all scheduled, order some more stock. I need to order another box of wax. I still have half a box left, but with 130 candles that need to be made this week, I definitely need to order another one. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do after that, but it is definitely going to be something productive. There will be no early finishes for at least the next month, I want to say, and on top of that I think I'm going to be working some nights as well. So I am currently reading Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This one is not on my Bookopoly CBR for the month, but I am also participating in Slayerfest, which is a month-long Buffy themed readathon, and this one is for, I think it's prompt number 5, which is Sunnydale High, to read a book that is set in a school, and this one is set in a magic school. This one's the Illumicrate edition. It came in the September Illumicrate, but I did also have an arc for this on NetGalley. I didn't quite get to it in time, but I'm reading it now so that I can review it. So this story is a little bit complicated. It's the first book in a new series by Naomi Novik. It is an adult magic school story. In here we follow a main character called Elle, which is short for Galadriel, and when we start off this story she is extremely annoyed because this boy keeps saving her life. So this takes place in a magic school, and as soon as the book starts you are already in the magic school. The school is literally riddled with demons and there are wards surrounding this school to keep them out. However, the biggest danger to the students of this school is that when they graduate they have to fight their way out of a room full of demons, because that particular room doesn't have any wards and no way of getting rid of them. So to get out of the school at graduation you pretty much have to fight your way out. So everything in this school is pretty cutthroat. There are no teachers, there are only students, and if you attend this school you only have a 1 in 4 chance of surviving because of all these demons. So the best things to do to ensure that you survive and get to leave the school is 1, make sure that you survive long enough to even get to graduation, and 2, either form an alliance or join an enclave. So the enclave kids in here are kind of the privileged bunch. They are part of these institutions across the world in major cities, and essentially this school has been created for them, but they do allow other kids in there so that everybody who is gifted in magic has the opportunity to learn how to use this magic. Galadriel is not part of one of the enclaves, and aside from that, she also has a tendency to be drawn towards the darker side of magic, like the evil magic. However, she doesn't want to be a dark sorceress, so she does everything that she can to not give in to these urges. Aside from this tendency she has to be drawn towards dark magic, she's also pretty unlikable. She's extremely defensive, she's very sarcastic. She comes from a background of people being pretty much horrible to her because of this affinity that she has for dark magic, and because of this she's turned into a very bitter, defensive person. But let me tell you, I absolutely love her. Her attitude is not great, but she's just a sarky bitch and I really like it. So the plot of this is that this boy Orion keeps trying to save Elle's life. She's really annoyed about it because she doesn't think that she needs him. However, he is like the class hero and he starts to notice her affinity towards dark magic. He starts to follow her around and hang out with her to make sure that she isn't a dark sorceress, and because he's known as the school hero and he's following her around, other people start to take notice of this, and she uses this opportunity to get closer to other wizards so that she can either join an enclave or form an alliance, because next year she will be graduating and so far she doesn't even have friends, never mind somebody who is going to help her fight her way out of the graduation hall. So I'm currently 248 pages into this. I have like 65 pages less of this and I still could not tell you what my final rating is going to be. As I've mentioned, I really love Elle and her nature. I actually identify with her a lot. She's biracial, white and South Asian, and she's just used to people being horrible to her, and because of that she's built up these defenses where she doesn't like to get close to people. She just doesn't like people, and she just resonates with me on such a fucking deep level. I really love her and how just sarcastic and awful she is, but like in a really funny way. I really like her character. I also really like Orion, who is the hero. He's sort of like a helpless puppy, and then we also have a couple of other characters in here that I really like. I like Lou and I like Adaya, and when the plot is actually going, this is a really fun story because everything that happens to Elle she's just kind of greatly inconvenienced by, but she's also used to it. So a demon falls out of the ceiling and she's pretty much rolling her eyes because she's in the middle of something that she would really like to get done, and this thing has like majorly inconvenienced her. I also really enjoy the setting of the Scholomance. If you kind of remove it from this book on the way that Naomi Novik has written it, I really enjoy it as a setting. However, I don't like the writing style in here. When there's action scenes or when we're actually moving through the narrative, the writing style is fine. I don't have a problem. I enjoy it. However, my issue with the writing style also ties into the biggest problem I have with this book, which is the endless exposition. You will be midway through a chapter and then it'll just go off on a tangent and give you a big info dump of information and world building that lasts so long that by the time you get to what Elle was actually doing, which is the reason why this info dump was brought into the story, you can't really remember what she was doing. And during those areas of exposition, this book has a really conversational style of narration, almost like Elle is breaking the fourth wall and kind of talking to the reader, that I just don't like. Like, I don't like conversational writing styles. So at the end of last week's vlog, I said that this book could probably be anything between a 2 and 4 star for me. Now with 65 pages left, I'm thinking that it's going to be 3 or 4. I'm gonna have to compile this one because like I really don't know what I'm gonna rate it, but what I will say is that even if this book gets 2 stars, because I can't stand the writing in it, I will still continue on and read the sequel whenever it's released because I'm really enjoying the actual story and love the characters. It's probably not going to be 2, it's probably going to work out at about 3 stars, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I should finish this today. It's 12:50. I'm in the middle of making candles. My jars were delivered this morning, so I'm going to be making 115 candles today. I'm just waiting for the wax that I melted to come to temperature so that I can pour it. So while I'm in those periods in between being able to actually do stuff with the candles, I'm going to be reading this because I'm making increasingly larger batches of candles when I'm doing them. The periods of waiting in between me actually melting the wax down and pouring it are getting longer because the more hot wax you have in a container, the longer it takes to cool down and come to temperature, obviously. So those are my plans for today. I'm really really excited to see how this wraps up, and I'll pop back in to let you know my final rating on this when I know what it is. So I have finished Deadly Education now. My final rating on this came out at 3 stars. I adore the main character, and there is a lot about this book that I really enjoy. The last line leaves it on kind of not necessarily a cliffhanger, but it's a real oh shit moment. So I'm really desperate for the next book to be released, and I did look on Goodreads and add it to my to read shelf because it's already there with a title and a synopsis. Even though I did check, I don't think it has a release date yet. Oh no, it does, July 6th. It's called The Last Graduate, and I'm really excited already to read that. But I mean, I just can't overlook the things that I didn't like, which was the endless exposition. I just really was not a fan. Also, I think I've got glitter. Yeah, I had glitter under my nose because it was glistening white. My biggest problem with this was definitely the exposition. It was making it very hard to focus, very hard to actually take in the points that Naomi Novik was trying to make, and also it just kept making me forget about what I just read, which is really annoying because I did really like this. Enjoyment wise, it's probably a 4 stars, but overall 3 stars, and it's definitely like, I don't feel bad that it's 3 stars because it definitely was a 3-star read. But usually if I rate a book 3 stars, it's either because I'm ambivalent or I liked it but I didn't find anything special about it. But this was that I loved it and despised it in equal measure, which is a really weird feeling to have. But there you have it. So that is book number 5, I think, on my Slayerfest TBR ticked off. Now I am just going to get up the prompts for Slayerfest because I will be moving on to the next location. Okay, so the next location is location number 6, UC Sunnydale. After defeating the mayor, you move on to college where you hope to have normal relationships and wish that everything was less monstery. Unfortunately, you discover the initiative run by the demented Maggie Walsh and her Franken pet Adam. Challenge, read a book with your least favourite trope. So for this one, I'm reading another arc that I've got in NetGalley. I'm really clearing out all of my NetGalley books this month, and that is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. The release date for this, I think, is sometime around the 27th of October, and Carrie Maniscalco is the author of the Jack the Ripper series, like Stalking Jack the Ripper, Hunting Prince Dracula, etc., which is a series that I have never been interested in. However, when I saw the synopsis for Kingdom of the Wicked, I was hella excited. So we are following a girl. I think she's a twin. She definitely has a sister, and her sister dies, and to find out who's killed her and to seek revenge, she starts to dabble with dark magic, and she meets one of the princes of hell who claims to be on her side. Aside from that, the only other thing that I know about this is that it's set in Italy. I don't know if I am excited about this just because I haven't read anything from Carrie Maniscalco before, but she is an author where a lot of people really do love her work, so I kind of have faith in it a little bit. The only reason that I haven't read the Stalking Jack the Ripper series is because I don't really like historical fiction, so it was not something that I wanted to read, especially because everyone loves it so much, and what's the point in me going into it thinking I'm not gonna like it, because then I'm pretty much just shitting on everybody else's parade. But this one sounds really interesting, so I'm gonna be starting this soon. I'm just charging my Kindle at the moment. It's been dead for a couple of weeks, and I'm actually going to go watch another episode of The Haunting of Hill House. I did want to watch Hill House last year, but I got the book in my September Owlcrate last year and I wanted to read that, but I spoke to Cody last week or a couple of weeks ago, and she said that it's different enough that if I watch the show it won't really spoil me for the book. I still haven't gotten around to reading the book, so I did start that while I ate. I've watched 1 episode. I've heard that it's pretty slow to get into, and so far I agree. I'm not like desperate to continue, but Curtis is out watching football. He's at his father's, so I'm gonna watch another episode of Hill House. I have made sure all the doors are locked. I put the landing light on in case I need to go to the bathroom, although I'm really strategic about it, and I go before I watch so that I don't need to go in the middle and get scared. But the landing light is on, the doors are locked. I closed the curtains in the kitchen because where you sit on the sofa you can see directly through the window in the back door, and it was going dark and I was staring into an abyss. So I've closed all the curtains and I'm gonna go and watch some more of that. Hey guys, I'm just checking in and letting you guys know that I have pretty much read absolutely nothing, not even intentional. I did start Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco yesterday. I'm over 10% into that, maybe around 15%, but I wanted to read last night, so I've completely blasted through The Haunting of Hill House now. I started it whenever I said I was starting it, maybe 6-7 p.m. on Tuesday, and I finished it yesterday. I literally just blasted through the entire thing. I watched 6 episodes on Tuesday night, and then I watched 3 while I was packing candle orders yesterday, so I've got another 24 candle orders out yesterday, and then I wrapped it up and watched the last episode last night. I then wanted to read, but my Kindle had died earlier in the day, even though it shouldn't have been, reading because I charged it before I started reading. So I put it on charge. It had 15%. It shorted out on me. So then I put it on charge at 10 p.m. and it charged between 10 p.m. and 12:30, 1 a.m. It charged up to about 17%. So I went to bed, got up this morning, it was on 37%. I put it back on charge at 2 p.m. after reading 2 chapters, and I just checked it, it's now 5:20 and it's on 40%. So you guys may remember, if you've been here quite a while, a few months ago I went out and I ordered my new sofa. My new sofa arrived last month, and I think it took 3 months between me ordering my sofa and arriving. But I remember the week that I went to look at sofas and ordered one, I did say that day that I may nip into Curry's and pick up a new Kindle as well, because mine was acting up. It has been like this for quite some time now, but what it does is it fucks me about and it acts like a dick, and then as soon as I think about replacing it, it just starts working again. So last night I was incredibly annoyed because most Kindle Fires, I definitely want to fire. A Kindle Fire is the one that I've got now. I've had it 9 years. It's the first generation Kindle Fire, and when I got it I did use it a little bit as a tablet. I just played games on it. Like, I have an ongoing game of Angry Birds that I've been playing for about 9 years, but now I don't use it as a tablet, I just use it as a Kindle. However, I do want a Kindle Fire as opposed to like a Paperwhite, because I can get Scribd if I have a Kindle Fire, and I haven't been using Scribd recently because when I used to use Scribd quite a lot, I was reading on my desktop. I don't like reading on my phone because for me the screen is too small for reading. It feels weird, and I also get distracted easily because of notifications. So I definitely have to read ebooks on a tablet, and I've been meaning to upgrade my Kindle. The first reason was because my Kindle is so old that it doesn't support Scribd, and I would actually like to make use of the fact that I have Scribd. And the second is the battery problems I've been having with it. Aside from that, you know, 9 years for a Kindle, that's a long ass time considering it's a Kindle Fire. Like, it's not just a Kindle, it's also a tablet. Kindles are quite out of stock at the minute because it's just been Prime Day, and I'm so annoyed because on Prime Day I was looking through all of the deals. I put a Kindle in my basket and then I just decided that I didn't need one because my Kindle, while it is inconvenient, works fine, and I hate replacing things unnecessarily. I come from a background where if it ain't broke you don't fix it, and if it is broke you try and fix it before you replace it. So yeah, the only reason I haven't replaced it is because there's this thing in my head that's like, oh, it's not really broken, like it still kind of works fine even though it's a pain in my arse. But I'm really frustrated because Kingdom of the Wicked is the book I'm supposed to be reading and my Kindle is being a dick. So I finally ordered one last night, and that should come tomorrow hopefully. It's the only one that I could get that would arrive tomorrow. It's a 16 gig Kindle Fire 7, and 16 gig doesn't sound a lot for a tablet, but I'm literally only going to put Scribd and ebooks on it, and the one that I currently have is 8 gig and it still has over half of the space on it. So yeah, that happened. Just thought I would let you guys know. I'm also watching Money Heist, by the way. Absolutely love it. Binged 2 seasons with Curtis, so we're just about to start season 3, which I think we'll be doing tonight. But after I've had dinner and watched a couple of episodes of Money Heist, I'm going to try and read as much of Kingdom of the Wicked as possible before my Kindle either dies or shorts out on me. It may be fine because it should have around 45% by then, which will definitely get me through the evening of reading. However, if it does the thing where it shorts out at around 20-15%, or what it's doing now is not only is it struggling to charge, it's also not holding the charge very long. So we'll see. If it manages to serve me well this evening, I will be reading Kingdom of the Wicked, and if it doesn't, I have one book that's on my Bookopoly TBR that is not on my Slayerfest TBR. It's only a graphic novel, so I'm not particularly worried about it, and I did say in my TBR that if the graphic novel that I wanted to read hadn't arrived yet, then I would swap it out. The one that I should be reading is Angel After the Fall Volume 2. That still hasn't arrived, unfortunately. I'm going to have to chase that up, so I will swap it out for something else and read that this evening instead. But I'll let you guys know. If I don't check in and let you know, then my Kindle was fine and I carried on with Kingdom of the Wicked, and if it shorts out, I will be back in the next clip complaining about it again.
You wouldn't say I was flashy, you wouldn't say I was rich, you wouldn't leave here right now with me instead of that fool you came with. You wouldn't start dancing with a complete stranger, you wouldn't happen to have the time. Never mind, we can talk about that later. Tonight, 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 I'm not worried about the price. I feel good on the nights. Tonight, 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 I didn't come here to fight for who's wrong or who's right. I'm just trying to keep things light. Tonight, 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 wouldn't call it polite. You couldn't show me one thing that's all black or all white. I didn't come here to worry, I didn't come here to care. But the look in your eyes is the look in my eyes. Tonight, I'm not worried about the price. I feel good, I love nice. Tonight, I didn't come here to fight.
Hey, I'm just checking in with you guys to let you know a little bit about Kingdom of the Wicked, because I'm currently like 70-something% of the way through it, and I plan on finishing it tonight, and I haven't even told you guys properly what it's about. So in here we start off following twin sisters Amelia and Victoria, but very early into the novel Victoria is murdered and her heart is ripped out. Amelia is devastated by this because of all the people in the world she's closest to her twin sister, so she is desperate to find out who did it and also exact her revenge. So she finds some things in a secret hiding place that her twin had, including a summoning spell, and Amelia uses the summoning spell, which brings forth one of the princes of hell, Wrath. Amelia and Victoria were both told many horror stories by their nonna when they were children their entire lives about hell, the princes of hell, the kingdom of the wicked, which is where the princes are from, and how evil they are. So Amelia thinks that Wrath is this horrible, terrible, hellish being, and he says that he's on her side and will help her find out what happened to her sister so that they can prevent any more murders happening, and she doesn't quite believe him. She's very dubious of this. This book is also set in Italy. Amelia and Victoria's parents own a trattoria, and there is a lot of food mentioned in here, and oh my god, it is making me want to go back to Rome and eat seafood spaghetti and Mila Fogli and drink spritzes, and I'm just so sad. I was looking at holidays to Sicily last night because I do desperately want to go back to Italy, and Sicily especially because of the cuisine, and they are actually quite cheap right now. Unfortunately, coronavirus is very much a thing, and I will not be going on holiday anytime soon. I do know that quite a few people have been booking holidays for next year, assuming that the worst of coronavirus will have passed by then or will have some kind of vaccine. But yeah, I'm just not risking it. I'm not getting my hopes up to have to cancel a holiday because this whole thing is still ongoing. But this book definitely has me in Italy in my mind and my soul, and I just really want some good Italian food right now. So the first 40% of this book I did not particularly enjoy. I just wasn't really getting into the story. It reminded me a lot of Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy, which is one of the 2020 releases that I was most excited for and was a little bit disappointed by, and I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling the main character. I wasn't really invested in what she was doing, and I was quite sad about it because the premise of this book really intrigued me. I haven't read anything from Carrie Maniscalco before, but I was hoping that this would be the one for me, and I was really upset. But I got past that 40% mark, and essentially the Prince of Hell is not super present in the story. Like, he's around, but he's not super present until a little bit later in the book, and as soon as he started being in the book a lot more, I was way more interested. He reminds me a lot of Patch from the Hush Hush series by Becca Fitzpatrick, which is a complete trash young adult paranormal series about a fallen angel, but pretty much anybody I know who's read Hush Hush absolutely adores Patch, and Wrath is giving me big Patch vibes, and I'm definitely enjoying that about it, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to wrap up. Like I said, I'm about 75% of the way through, which translates to 350-ish pages, something like that probably. So I have about 100 pages to go, and I'm definitely enjoying it now. So I slept in a lot. Like a lot today. I'm not happy with myself. My plans for the day were to pack a bunch more candle orders because I made a ton of candles yesterday, but due to me getting up so late, I just didn't want to do it because it's a Saturday and I have 2 live shows tonight. I'm popping into a live show on Keris from Library of Keris's channel tonight. It's her birthday live show and she has some games and stuff planned, and then not long after that I'm going to be doing my Patreon live show for the month. So I just wanted a better day than going straight from packing orders to possibly doing some editing to then 2 live shows. So I decided that I'm going to pack orders tomorrow instead. Sadly, that means that tomorrow is not going to be my day off, because ideally if I'd have managed to get through everything today, I would have had tomorrow completely off, but I will be packing those orders tomorrow. And I'm just really mad at myself because I lay in, and I mean, I could do with the rest in some ways, but in other ways I just really hate sleeping in. Like, it really puts me in a bad mood for the rest of the day if I do sleep in. So at this point I'll be be joining Curtis's live show in an hour and a half. I still haven't eaten and I don't have anything in. Curtis has gone to watch football. His dad's again tonight. I don't know what I'm doing about food. I have a headache coming on. I'm just generally feeling kind of shit because of that, but I'm going to get off now. I don't know whether I'm going to do some reading or play some more Final Fantasy X. I'm going to go take some paracetamol and then go do something fun until my live shows. Okay, so I literally just finished Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I really liked it. It came out at 4 stars in the end. For the longest time I thought it was going to be 3, but it got me. Like, eventually I got really into it, and that ending is so unsatisfying. Like, I have over a year to wait until the next book in the series, assumedly, because usually each installment in a series is like spaced a year apart. It's nearly 3 AM. It's like 2:52 AM and the clocks have gone back as well, so if the clocks hadn't gone back it'd be like 4 AM. But just so much happened in that last, how much I read, 25% in one sitting, and I really like Wrath now. When I requested this book and when I was going into this book, I said that I was interested about the Prince of Hell element and I hoped it would deliver on that darkness. Now, the Prince of Hell stuff, or the one in particular that we focus on in this book, reminds me a lot of characters like Patch. So it's kind of like a throwback to paranormal romance with like this dark, brooding, morally grey / evil character that I really enjoyed. Like, I can't lie, I'm a sucker for it, and that was definitely my favourite element. I'm not gonna lie, it's not a masterpiece. The plot was slightly predictable and there were just like a few elements of the writing that I just wasn't a huge fan of, but something that something I've always known, but something that I've realised recently, I'm going to make a video on this. I've noticed that I'm not really that into young adult fantasy anymore. I don't tend to be rating it very highly. I tend to be leaving it quite underwhelmed, and I have known for quite some time now that I am a character driven reader, and I come to the realisation that young adult fantasy, especially the first book in a series, tends to be quite heavy on plot and the focus isn't really on the characters, which leaves me feeling really unsatisfied because I really appreciate good characters and well-developed characters, and if I don't connect with the characters, even if I don't like them, as long as they're well developed, like, I'm reasonably happy. Obviously I prefer it if I do like them, and this has great characters. I really enjoyed the characters in here. So because I'm more of a character driven reader than a plot driven reader, I would rather have strong characters than a strong plot. If the characters are strong but I don't love the plot, I'm more forgiving of that. But if the plot is more dominant and I'm not connected to the characters, then I'm not about that. So yeah, I really liked the characters in this. It is by no means a masterpiece, but the way it ended as well, I am just so deeply unsatisfied that I just need to know what's happening. It left me like the last chapter started and I was just so confused. I just had no idea what was going on. Like, why is this happening? And then it just ended and I thought I had at least one more chapter left. I thought there was going to be something there that gave me a little bit of hope for the sequel and a little bit of something, you know, and there just wasn't. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that you pick up Kingdom of the Wicked. I really enjoyed it. It came as a surprise to me, especially because the first 40% didn't love, but oh my god, yeah, I'm a fan. So that one was on my Bookopoly TBR. It was to read a young adult fantasy, which I don't think I mentioned when I started reading it. And then for Slayerfest, it fulfilled prompt 6, which was UC Sunnydale to read a book with your least favourite trope. So now in terms of Slayerfest, I'm going to be reading a book that isn't on my Bookopoly TBR. I said that I was done with all of those. I lied. I have one more, I think, that isn't on my Bookopoly TBR until we get to Words of Radiance, which is probably going to leak over into November now. But for Slayerfest, this one fulfills the tower. College is just no longer in the cards, especially with the arrival of the Hell God trapped in a human's body that is trying to get back to her dimensions. Defeat glory by sacrificing yourself. Read a book that is outside of your comfort zone. So for this one, I'm going to be reading Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Marino Garcia. This Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction has kindly lent to me because while this is not on my Bookopoly TBR, it is my Inner Circle Patreon pick for October. I added a new thing to Patreon, so if you're a member of the Inner Circle, you can recommend me a book and it gets put into a drawer, and every month during my Bookopoly TBR I will pull a book out and have to read that book in the month. So this one is set during the Jazz Age and it follows a girl called Cassiopeia who would very much like to be out there experiencing the Jazz Age. However, she has to look after her grandfather's house. That is until one day she's cleaning her grandfather's room and she finds a chest that she opens which releases a Mayan god of death. So this one was Kylie's recommendation recommendation, and it is a book that was kind of on my radar, but I didn't own it or anything, and I didn't really know what it was about. I'd just seen other people reading and enjoying it. For the Slayerfest, it's outside of my comfort zone because it's a standalone fantasy. I believe it's adult, but standalone fantasies are just not usually my thing, especially as it is quite short as well. So I mean, adult fantasy, not outside of my comfort zone, but just I'm more drawn to series, and I don't tend to like short things, especially with fantasy, because I like fantasy to be like super heavy on the world building, and I like to get super invested in the story, which I don't feel like I do when I'm reading a short standalone. So I'm gonna go to bed pretty soon, but tomorrow I will be starting Gods of Jade and Shadow, and we'll see how far I get. My schedule for my Bookopoly TBR to get it done by the end of the month, I would like to read half of this tomorrow, which is 165 pages. To be fair, text kind of big, margins not too bad, chapters short. Yeah, chapters reasonably short, so it is definitely doable, but I will check in with you guys tomorrow before I wrap up the vlog, let you know how far into this I am and what I think of it so far. So it is very nearly 1 a.m. on like Sunday night, Monday morning, and I have yet another headache, so I'm about to go to bed. I have not done as much reading as I anticipated today. I mean, I knew I was being kind of ambitious when I said I wanted to read 160 pages today, but I spent most of my day, like from I want to say midday up until about 5 p.m. I did, I think, another 24 today, which brings my total for the week up to like 81 orders, which seems like a lot, and it is a lot. Like 81 orders is a lot, but looking at how many orders I still have to go, it's not as many as I would have liked. I would have definitely liked to have hit the 100 mark this week, but sadly that is not the case. So I have another very busy week ahead of me next week, and yeah, it's probably just going to continue like this until December. I do have a restock coming on Friday. I have a basket full of fragrance that I'm going to check out on tomorrow. There will be one final very small restock of the fall candles, because I know I've stocked a lot of those, so I don't think there are too many of you guys who still need to get hold of those. I will also be restocking the Believeathon candles next Friday as well. It's a medium-sized restock of those because they are still current stock up until the end of November, but I'm trying to keep my restock amounts like kind of small so I don't get overwhelmed, even though like I already am. I want to try and maintain a steady flow as opposed to overwhelming myself, trying to clear through it and then just continuing to overwhelm myself. So if you want those, they will be available on Friday as well, and then there'll just be a couple of random things like the 2 Nevermore candles. I will be restocking them as a bundle and also individually, and then just like a couple of other bits. So that will be happening at 7 p.m. GMT now because the clocks went back last night on Friday evening, if any of you guys are interested. Reading wise, I'm not really going to tell you too much about my book because I did only manage to get to page 63 of Gods of Jade and Shadow. What I've read of this so far, I will say it's not exactly what I expected, although I definitely didn't go into this with a lot of expectations, with it being like outside my comfort zone, as I've mentioned. And I also haven't read anything else from Sylvia Moreno Garcia before. The writing is very descriptive and it is undeniably very well written. I am enjoying it so far. It's just, especially the last hour I've been trying to read, with me having a headache, it's been slow progress and I'm struggling to focus a little bit, and it is a book that I need to focus on. I don't think I'm going to read this as quickly as I anticipated. I mean, obviously I'm 100 pages down on what I thought I would be at today, but it is definitely not a book that you can rush because of the writing style. So I do think that my progress in this is going to be a little bit slower than I anticipated. I will give you more information on this next week when I'm reading the bulk of it, but like plot wise in here, she unleashes the Mayan god of death very early on. It's like in chapter 3 or 4, I think it's definitely under the page 40 mark, so that kicks in kind of quickly, and I'm not entirely sure what the plot is going from there at this moment. But that is about it for this week's vlog. It has been a very chatty one this week, but I do hope you've enjoyed it if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.